This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Miri Kennett of Sargantanis, Draco Kirova of Cactar, Rez Decibels of Sargantanis. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio.
Coming up this week on Checkpoint Radio, we'll preview the action coming to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, as the Overwatch League descends on the city to play host to its very first grand finals. Plus, we'll play another round of Place That Chiptune. That's all coming up on your source for esports and video game discussions, Checkpoint Radio from Westwood One. Join me, Nate, Robbie Norris, and Joe for Checkpoint Radio. Listen on demand Tuesdays at our website at checkpointradio.com.
Coming this Fires Day to the Ruby's League Gladiatorial Arena, it's the WWC, the Wark Wrestling Confederation. That's right, brother. We're bringing the big time to the Weeaboo seat time. Woohoo! You gotta know your class and shut the queue to have a shot at seats this Fires Day. Don't think you can make it to Hinka? It doesn't matter what you think. Get your jabroni ass to the Wark Wrestling Confederation this Fires Day. Get there early if you want to rock what the cook is smelling. This Fighters Day, the Ruby C WWC Wark Wrestling Confederation.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break. With your hosts, Unhero.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
Ascalia.
Holy shit, totally forgot about him.
And Mika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode 165.
We're still in the 60s for real?
I know. This one, it seems like after 150, it started slowing down a
Thank
little
you.
bit.
Yes. For me, like
Right?
we hit episode 100 so quick. Even with when we're doing FEC or when we're doing Checkpoint, like the first 100 seemed to fly by, and then it just like slows down.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with the game that we're covering. Might. I don't know. Welcome to the show, guys. Appreciate having you along. Twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Of course, to tune in live and be a part of the show, because we want you to be a part of the show. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord is how you can be a part of the show. We want to hear what your reactions to the latest patch have been.
Oh boy.
Was there?
There was.
Are you sure?
Heaven on High has been added, as well as the latest leg of the Hildebrand quests, which
It's more like a toe.
yeah, okay.
Spoilers.
It's probably kind of accurate. But we want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord if you want an automatic invite to our Discord server. Because we do want to hear from you. I don't know how we're going to cover 2 hours just talking about Heaven on High.
Well, it's a whole patch. This is patch reaction.
Oh, it's a half patch.
Yeah, half patch. I don't even know that it counts as a half patch. Anyway, we're excited. We're excited to have you along, and of course, we are broadcasting live from our Eorzean studios. Let's kick it on over to them. You can join us in the studio if you want. That's on the Sargantanis server, the Goblet, 5th Ward, plot number 30. It's pretty easy to find if you want to come in and do weird things for the camera. You know, the more you emote, the more the camera focuses on you. So you can come and just steal the entire show and then share it with your friends because we don't care. We'll just take the hits.
It's better than all the lamps that it would normally focus on.
And the bottles.
I removed the lamps and I replaced them with bottles.
Well, good, because it's focusing on bottles and empty beds. And
Not good. Not good. Because you know what? That was actually a smart idea to remove all the lamps because you can't actually be in front of a lamp. But if you actually put the bottles in there so it would focus on them, you should have put the bottles in places where it showed other things.
No, I put the bottles where Anira was likely to drop them.
I mean, probably accurate. Anyway, so yeah, we invite you to join us again. That's on the Sargentana server. What is a server? I don't know what a server is. Sargentana server. Goblet, 5th Ward, plot number 30. Of course, we are supported by your generous support over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. We appreciate your support. And of course, because you guys got us to the $1,300 level, we are working on the Let's Be Real podcast. The current question that we're struggling with is whether or not we should keep it on Sundays or we should try to find another night for it. You know, that's one of the more complicated aspects, because that makes for a long Sunday, and especially when we're in the dregs of summer when it's so hot, it can make this studio really unbearable to be in. So we may try to find another night to do that show on. We're not 100% sure, but we'll tell you as soon as we're able to pin that down. But again, your support is critical in making projects and efforts like that happen. That's over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. We're also supported by your generous subscriptions here to twitch.tv/limitbreakradio, as well as whatever you're generous enough to give through bits and through PayPal. All of that kind of goes to feed the engine. So we do appreciate all of your support. Again, patreon.com/limitbreakradio is the most effective. And you also get a pretty cool postcard if you donate at the $20 level. What's this month's postcard?
This month is going to be kooky, and there's also a hint of Ascalia in there somewhere as well.
Oh,
so, yeah, look out for that.
There's an Ascalia Easter egg.
There is.
Who the fuck is that?
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I want to point out too is for the obviously this is the last card in this set. So next month starts a new artist, a new set, and I'm looking to do something. Obviously, you know, when we switch up artists, the art style changes, right?
Right.
But I'm looking to in celebration of Let's Be Real, maybe even switch up the themes here a little bit too. So
interesting.
If you've been on the fence about, you know, like Eorzea style postcards, you might get something a little different this time, guys.
There you go. We've also got, of course, t-shirts and posters and a bunch of other cool stuff that you can get by giving over at patreon.com/limitbreakradio. We're also hard at work producing each week the Checkpoint Radio show. This week had a great discussion on the Checkpoint Radio podcast. You can check that out over at checkpointradio.com. We hope that you do. Apparently, white supremacists are using, like
Minecraft.
Fortnite and Minecraft to be able to do recruiting. So we talk about that. Yeah,
you are a bigot.
Yeah, it's not a great story. So the thing is that we get into the nitty gritty of that story over on the Checkpoint podcast. Check that out, checkpointradio.com. All right, let's check out what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a limit breaking news update.
So we have no new cash shop additions this week.
Oh, thank God.
But yes, that's not going to stop Square-Enix from pushing that agenda on the Lodestone. With the addition of Heaven on High, why not take this time to mention that they have a sale on the Black Bosom gear? You can now save $3.60 on the attire, $2.10 on the weapon collection, or a measly 90 cents per individual weapon. Wowzers.
I'm coming! I'm coming!
God damn it.
There's that. There's that. That took a,
Nice.
that was a whole Lodestone announcement.
Oh my God.
Was $2 maybe a little bit too much for the weapons for the site that you wanted? Well, now it's only 90 cents.
Here's the sad thing, though. Here's the sad thing is that this is the bulk of the news that we have to talk about, right? Like, that drives me fucking crazy. In an MMO where you can have almost infinite numbers of possibilities of the types of content that you can add, the different rewards that you can add, each week we sit here and we have to waste like 15 fucking minutes talking about
work went into shilling cash shop bullshit into the story of heaven while making it not deep dungeon.
Yeah, pretty much. I totally agree with that nuclear theology.
It feels like I'm dying inside.
Like, and you're right. Like, more effort is being put into the cash shop than is being put into almost any other design element of this game, and that's frustrating because that's not even a whole lot of effort, right? Like, they're not even putting a whole lot of. It's bad cash shop shit, right? Like, it's not even good cash shop shit. It's bad cash shop shit.
You don't want that awesome scythe? It's the only place you can get the scythe. In 14, you can relive.
God, I want to hurt you so bad.
You can relive your Final Fantasy 11 days.
Okay. First of all, no. Second of all, double no. Third of all, it's Scythe, you ass.
Hey, maybe they'll add the what was that? I think the Death Scythe was the one that you liked to use back in 11. Maybe they'll add that in Pagos.
I'm gonna rip your fucking larynx out.
Don't lip me, Dad. Okay, moving off of the cash shop into something as equally as frustrating. So the Feast Season 8 is over.
Oh boy, let's see who won from botting and AFKing.
And so winners supposedly got stuff. Well, this obviously isn't a big deal to us. I'm sure that trying to compete in the Feast is a challenge in itself. So congrats to the top 5 feasters of Season 8, Yuri Azur and Sotek Sasara, who actually have to share 5th place.
What?
Lloyd Irving, that is not our Lloyd, Zegram 14, Akami II, and the #1 feaster of Season 8 is White.
Another victory for America.
I
have no idea what they get for that, by the way. I couldn't tell you.
I also couldn't tell you how many of those are hackers and botters, but there's a pretty good chance that, 50% maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that whole, like, honestly, the bot thing has really driven a lot of people out of the PvP scene. So
that's sad, unfortunately. Yeah. So moving on, let's go for the hat trick. The third piece of useless news today. Final Fantasy XIV has released a new fan kit update so you can customize your phone and PCs, and that's not actually the useless part. This one just included a bunch of crafter related stuff. So
I'm sorry, I thought it was garbage.
Cool. What was that, Nika?
It says PvP stuff too, and crafter stuff.
And gatherer stuff.
I put gatherer in the crafting section. It's shit that nobody wants to do. Okay.
Oh my god.
PvP stuff could be cool, maybe.
Yeah. The fan kit update with cell phone wallpapers and desktop wallpapers. Yeah,
and Twitter icons.
Yeah, you go check that out, Nika. You let us know how that is. Report it back to us.
Download it right
Please
now.
don't. Oh my.
I'm doing it.
All right, look, here's something cool that you'll actually get some enjoyment out of in exchange for your hard-earned money. The Stormblood Final Fantasy XIV original soundtrack is now available, and it features over 100 tracks from Stormblood up to patch 4.3, and it comes with the Tsukuyoki, whatever the fuck her name is, minion.
Kiyomi.
There you go. But you only get the minion in this first run edition. The price point for this soundtrack is $50.
Ballin'. Yeah, no, I would buy that.
100 tracks?
Here's the thing. I didn't really like the Stormblood music, though.
Yeah.
Like, especially compared with A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, like, though, some of my favorite pieces of music were written in those, two versions of the game. I can't think of one from Stormblood where I'm like, you gotta think though, out of 100 tracks, there must be a handful in there that you'd enjoy, right?
Which would be worth $50.
There's some good ones, right? Like, there's probably some Primal themes that were pretty decent, but like, there's nothing that sticks out like the Alexander music did from Stormblood.
There's nothing from Stormblood that I can start humming for you right now. I don't think there's a single Stormblood song.
Okay, now hold on. Includes all the stuff from patch 4.3 and back. So that includes stuff from Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy V, the raid themes.
That's probably true.
So that's something good.
Yeah, but I don't know how much. I mean, like, some of those were barely changed from their original version.
Which means that he probably already has them.
I mean.
Yeah. So, like, if they did more, like the Dancing Mad's one that I would love to have.
You could probably just buy that singly as a track on iTunes, though.
Isn't it something like $6 or something ridiculous? Like the pricing on it is just fucking stupid.
It's better than $50 for one.
To be fair, it is cheaper than the orchestrion rolls.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the orchestrion rolls, excuse me. But yeah, no, I don't know. I would actually pick this up. I haven't bought any of the physical soundtracks for FF14, and I feel a little bit guilty about that.
I bought some of the Primals CDs, but not the actual soundtracks.
You know what? I had before Meteor, and then we got it signed by Susan Calloway, and I gave it away. So.
That was dumb.
No, not really. It was a great giveaway. I think Sevo Kevo won that.
Nice. All right, well, here. This next one is going to be a bit of a doozy, so prepare yourself. We've gotten a look at some potential rewards from the next Rising event, right? And there are two pieces of jewelry that I personally have never seen, but then again, I'm also not a Legacy player. Back in the 1.0 days, if you defeated Darkness Hard Mode, you got some sweet White Raven earrings, or if you did the original Hildebrand quest, you got the Manderville earrings. Well, if you missed all that or never had the chance, that's right. This year's Rising event will let you obtain those with next to no effort whatsoever. Yoshida be praised.
That's really disappointing.
I don't think I ever got the Manderville about
it.
Well, now you can, Nika.
I guess I never finished the Hildebrand quest in the original game.
Now you can get them.
I know that I didn't finish the Hildebrand quests in the 1.0.
Did either of you defeat Darkness Hard?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought so. I mean, well,
so do you have the White Raven earrings?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not sure.
I've never used them for...
What was the hard mode? I didn't think there was many things that were normal mode and hard mode.
I don't think there was a hard mode.
Well, maybe it was just because he was hard, but yeah, so just Darkness. Yeah.
I thought, I mean, I definitely did.
Yeah, because I feel like I have the earrings somewhere. I just don't know where.
Well, now everybody can get them, and I think that's the important part.
I mean, I guess it's such a little trinket that it's like, who really gives a shit?
Just don't touch my Dalamud horn. I love having that.
That's the thing,
that's
Nika.
What's next, Nika.
It's a slippery slope.
If you don't yell out right now...
Or whatever.
First, they came for my Hildebrand earrings. Then they came for my Darkness earrings. Now that they've come for my horn, there's no one left to pitch Manfest.
And here's the thing: in this Reddit thread, I perused a few of the comments right at the top, and a lot of the first comments was, "Oh, I hope the Dalamud horn is next."
No.
People want it, Nika.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I like that. That's like the one really cool thing you can show off that no one else can.
Yeah, but Nika, Yoshida wants everyone to have fun and feel like they're accomplishing things. So why would he not just give it to them? Why should you be the only one to enjoy that?
I'm not the only one.
But I mean, clearly Square Enix doesn't understand what motivates players to actually do a thing, or
they sure
to like have pride in a thing, right? Like as soon as you do that, no one will ever show that piece off ever again for any reason.
But we need more digital inclusivity.
Oh,
it's not nice to exclude people.
Back tattoos,
but it does right. Like that seems like I mean it.
Oh my gosh, being able to buy the legacy tattoo.
No,
give it 2 years. Give it 2 years, and I can.
2 years? You think it's gonna take that long? I thought we'd see it in the next 6 months.
No.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And that may be the last straw that they have. But I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like it really feels like, why even have this argument anymore? We've talked about this so many fucking times about how Square Enix will put something exclusive or difficult to get, and then they just it's a punchline on the show. Oh, just wait a year, it'll be in the fucking cash shop.
Well, but
it's true.
And you know what, too? You know, we talked a few weeks ago. There was an interview where someone had asked Yoshi, that why can't you find a way to give non-legacy players the legacy experience, right? And the way that he kind of tiptoed around it sort of sounded like, oh no, that's something that's specific, for the legacy players, right? That's something they got to experience. But he also followed up with the fact that we don't have those servers anymore, so we couldn't if we wanted to, which makes me think that if they had a way to, they would totally fucking do it.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think that just takes, even if they had the servers, it would take people to manage it, and I just don't think they're going to allocate resources.
The FF14 has a dwindling population.
Well, not according to them.
If evidenced by nothing else, then they have a player base that's going, hey, we've run through all of your shit to do. Can we have that old 1.0 shit that we never got to experience?
Yeah.
So that we have something to do. And they you know what I mean? Like, why not fix that fucking problem and give people shit to do so they're not asking for the 1.0 experience? No one would ask for that back. No one in their right fucking mind would ask for a legacy experience if they actually were happy with the game that they were playing and excited about what they had to log in and do that day.
I would love to go back and witness how people lived in the Old West. I think that'd be really neat.
Jesus. I mean, like, first of all, 1.0 was such a functional nightmare that nobody really wants to go back there.
Oh, God.
No one. But what they want is they want some shit to do. And, you know, we understand that the next leg of terrible storytelling takes a while to make. So why don't you give us that old shit?
You know what's most upsetting about that sentiment? The fact that people still need stuff to do. Right now, Square Enix and Yoshida's answer to that is, okay, well, let's take all the content that we're going to give them in this patch and we'll spread it out over a couple different months. And that's not even working.
Right.
Where do you go from here?
You go to World of Warcraft.
I don't know. ESO's been fun.
Oh no! Don't even say that, because he's gonna like glob on you like some
kind of like ESO, so I had to play it.
Some kind of creepy tentacle monster with suction cups on his arms, and he's just gonna go all hentai on you.
Like, I think Square Enix needs to reassess how they treat their overworld. Because this, just laying fates down and quests that really feel very toothless, well written, but ultimately pointless. That is, I think, one of the biggest hindrances to people really forming an attachment to the world. Because what do? They log in, they grind the XP until they're at cap, and then they go straight into fucking dungeons. And they grind dungeons and tomes until they get, the fucking raid release 2 weeks later.
Well, something that I've noticed too, looking forward to Eureka Pagos, which is on its way. I still hadn't gone through and completely finished everything in the first Eureka, right? And I've realized something with the way that Yoshida has been talking about how they do their content, how they want people to easily be able to catch up. And I don't even think that is an accurate way of describing what happens with old content. Because if I wanted to go and catch up in Eureka right now, I can't. Nobody does it.
No, that's not true. I went in recently. There's at least a couple instances constantly going.
Is there?
Yeah.
Because a few times that I've tried to pop in there, let's see how big it's going right now. There's not a whole lot
less people, but there's at least one or two solid instances going.
It now more than ever, because I actually tried to look into it as opposed to just being like, oh well, sure, I'm sure people do that. Is that I feel like it's more just like a slash and burn. Like when new content comes out, they don't worry about catching people up on old content. It just becomes irrelevant for everyone.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, the fact that you don't have to catch people up, that you can just kind of queue for whatever once you hit the level cap, as long as you've done the quest, you can do it. I think that's kind of a big problem. I don't know. I think that there's got to be some kind of fundamental shift that happens in 5.0 that moves us away from the dichotomy that we have now, which is dungeon grinding.
Great. Juxta. You should give it a try.
That was $20. How much does ESO cost right now? Maybe we'll get it for him.
Yeah.
I don't like Elder Scrolls games. I played one and I was utterly completely. I played it twice.
Which one?
I don't know. Probably Morrowind.
Well, that's not.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't get even remotely into the game to have a fair opinion on it.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah. See, Morrowind was technically my first one as well, but the computer couldn't handle it, and that's why I never had a chance to get into it.
Morrowind is a difficult game to get into. But anyway, we're not here to talk about ESO
as much as you'd like to.
But I do think that there is something that FF14 could learn from ESO in the way that ESO uses its overworld, because that I have an attachment to every single section of the zone that I have ever been sent to because of the quests that I do when I'm there.
When you were watching me, the random ass NPC who I didn't exchange more than a sentence with, who was in the cage at the beginning with me, you apparently knew who that was.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm like, whatever, bye.
and like that kind of shit is really cool, and I latch onto that. I gravitate towards it in other games, and it's something that FF14 doesn't do. Again,
well, hold on. It's something that they have the beginnings of, because when Nika talks about Viervelt or Gietervelt or whatever that monk person, like that's like the beginning of what you're talking about. But then the rest of the game just refuses to use those.
Right. Well, and it's, I mean, that's selective storytelling inside of a quest. And it is good when Square Enix puts enough time, effort, and lore behind it to make it matter. You know what I mean? We've dissected intensely minute portions of this game on the show before because it had some connection to do with either 1.0 or it had some overall greater connection to the lore in Final Fantasy, right? And it just seems like with Stormblood, there's been even less of, like there was less of it in Heaven's Word, and now there's even less of it in Stormblood. And I think part of it is that, yes, we are moving away from a lot of the context that 1.0 provided about Eorzea, because indeed half of our narrative took place in Doma. But what I'm talking about is just in terms of game design, just going through and cynically plopping down in your overworld, hey, this is your level range from this zone. Here's some fates that are kind of halfway well written to give it some flavor, and the you know, the MSQ will progress you through the zone and to the next zone where you'll continue leveling. And I think that is a much less engaging way to treat your zone design, where I think in 5.0, you know, we have such a range of zones that exist in the overworld already that we can purpose for leveling. And, you know, we've got Heaven on High, we've got Deep Dungeon, and we've got dungeons that people use more for leveling than they use the overworld or fates for. So change the purpose of the overworld and have it serve a different purpose. You know, go back to a lot of the things that we were talking about between Heaven's Word and Stormblood. Make the zones dangerous. Have it, you know, have there be a sense of danger as I'm trying to traverse from one side to the other. I mean, maybe even put in an, you know, maybe it's time in the expansions to put in a world event, you know, a campaign of some sort.
That would be awesome.
Right?
So good.
You know, like, I think that's the way that Square Enix should be thinking, and that is intrinsically thinking about how to keep your audience that you already have there, instead of, and as opposed to what I feel like they've been doing for the last two expansions, which is trying to figure out how to make their world the most appealing for someone who hasn't even bought the game.
Well, here's the problem that I see with that. Imagine that they do start taking all of that into account. Wouldn't their overlying problem that I think we have all identified, even all the way back to the beginning of A Realm Reborn, is their underlying problem with there being no real reward structure? When they come out with something, they want you to do it because this is the content now. Do it.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be their approach, which is, I think, pretty arrogant. I think that's pretty arrogant on Square Enix's part, because I don't feel like, at least within the last couple of dungeons, anyone has stopped and asked, like, why is this interesting? You know what I mean? Like, from a narrative or storytelling perspective, why is this interesting to do over and over and over again? Why? The fact that there's not a dungeon that gives a clever narrative reason for why you're spamming it over and over and over again blows my fucking mind.
Because tomes.
Well, we know the reason, but like not one single NPC like addresses it. You know what I mean?
Monsters are back.
It's stupid.
It's pretty dumb.
I mean, it's kind of lazy when you think about it.
It is. It's very lazy.
Yeah. And I'm just, I don't know, man. I'm getting a little sick of it. We want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Become a part of the show. Let us know what you think. Let all of Eorzea know what you think. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. So let's talk about Heaven on High.
All right, we're going to start with Heaven on High?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well, why would we start with Hildebrand?
I mean, they're both kind of duds, so either way. Yeah. All right. So Heaven's on High. I want to take, first of all, a few minutes here to complain about the fact that when unlocking it, right, I look on my map, it's a new system, so you know to look for the little quest with like the blue and gold, right? All right, so I see a blue and gold, Heaven Sent. Heaven on High. Okay, cool. Let me go and do that one. So I go and I start that one. I'm going through it, and then people in the chat are like, you know, you're doing the Beastman quest. I'm like, no, I'm not. The name of the quest was Heaven Sent. Heaven on High. No, sure enough, I was doing the Beastman quest. So I look back up there, and like next to it, maybe an inch away, was another heaven-related quest. And I'm just like, motherfucking Square-Enix.
You're some kind of moron, you know that?
So you go and you do that. And that part of the quest, you know, first talking to the guys, oh, you're that warrior of light. My boss wants to see you. Go across the map. Fly across the map. Talk to his boss. Oh, yeah, we got some weird thing with the tower here.
We got a thing.
Go up the stairs and talk to my boss. Mother, are you fucking kidding me, Square-Enix? Like, you wasted how much time creating all this dialogue and shit? We've talked about cutting the fat before.
Yeah.
Right? That's all this was. All the beginning of this quest was fat. Which eventually, you know, led into Heavens on High. So, finally got to do it.
Okay.
You know, in the chat, I had asked people, I had done about 20 floors before I got kicked off because there was a bug where summoners, of all people, which is hilarious, and we'll get to that, were crashing the instant, so they had to shut it down. So I didn't get to do all the way to floor.
It had to do with Bahamut.
Yeah, so I didn't get all the way to floor 30. But anyway, as I'm going through it and people are watching me, because I'd done it for about 2 hours, I was asking people in chat, you know, based on what you've seen so far, or if you've done it yourself, or, you know, old Deep Dungeon Palace of the Dead, what would you guys rate it? Like grade it so far and what you've seen, right?
Yeah.
Nobody in the chat of about 30 people that were watching me gave it above a C.
Yikes.
Yeah. So anyone listening right now, first of all, you know, we always encourage calls, of course, but specifically today, I really need someone who enjoys Heaven on High, who thought that this was a great addition. I really need you to call in and explain to me why this was good, because it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't logged in at all this week. I don't think I've even patched for this for Heaven on High yet. So what I'm gonna challenge people to do today is sell me on it. Like, tell me why I should be interested in doing Heaven on High. Get me interested enough. Sell me on it. Get me to log in.
Glowing weapons?
Nope.
Okay. Let's talk about the weapons. Because sure, glowing weapons. Glowing weapons are always cool, right? Guess what? These aren't new weapon designs. They took a previous weapon design and just made it glowy. And at least for ninjas,
isn't that what they did? That's what they did last time too. It wasn't like an original model.
And I think that's fucking bullshit. Like, you don't have armor in here, right? You put a mount in some pets. You couldn't take the time, because again, in this patch, it's literally this quarter patch, or the fuck it is, 15th of a patch, I don't know. But you couldn't have taken the time to just actually design some new weapons for this.
Well, we could, but it would have pushed it back by about 6 months.
No. I don't even think it does. No. Whenever they push something back now, I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that, oh, you know, there was a bug or we're not completely done with it. By Yoshida's own admission, they separate the patches like that so that people don't feel overwhelmed at having to do a bunch of content all at once and then have a long-ass dry spell. He has said that they do this so that people constantly have something to do. So no, the idea that, oh, we don't have enough time, we had to rush it, we had to hurry up, that's bullshit. That is fucking bullshit. In fact, this was probably ready quite a while ago but they were holding it out so that we had something to do. They had more than enough time to design new fucking weapons for this. Calling bullcrap on that.
They also had more than enough time to design a new system, which I understand they didn't do.
No. Can we talk about the new stuff then?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, so new stuff. They changed a few pomanders, the ones that would change you into a succubus or a manticore. They changed those, but they still do pretty much the same thing. Like the whole point of using the manticore pomander was that you would one-shot everything. So now they've added in a petrification one, where everything on the floor is petrified for a certain amount of seconds, and you can basically one-shot them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't call that new. That's not new.
But now anyone can one-shot them.
It's still the same thing, though. It's better, sure, but it's the same thing.
Boy, that sucks.
All right, they put new floor design in there. There's now a floor that as you zone into it, instead of being like winding pathways and hallways, instead, it's just a gigantic-ass open room.
That's kind of cool.
Which is kind of neat.
The first time you see it, you go, whoa.
Whoa, that's different.
And some of the little keys on there, the things that teleport you up, can be fakes. So if you run over to it, then it just disappears. You're like, oh, that was a fake one.
Well, then it does a bad thing on you.
Oh, did it? I didn't even notice the bad thing.
It silenced me and made me unable to use abilities.
Okay, now, if that happened more often than once in the 20 floors that I did, maybe, but it's still not really changing anything. What's the one thing that we said that they should add to this to make this infinitely more interesting?
Changing the objective per floor.
Yeah.
Objectives. And how fucking hard would that be to do? They did it in that Halloween event 2-3 years ago, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of that since. Why is that so difficult to do? It's not even like you're programming new things. You've done it before. Someone tell me why they didn't do this. What's stopping them from actually doing this?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Juxta, play real devil's advocate. You're Square-Enix. Why not put the objective-based...
Because if you do that, the more complicated it gets, the harder it is for newbies and casuals to do the content, because it might be too confusing.
But I feel like...
this is meant to be a late expansion leveling technique.
But I feel like we have... the original Deep Dungeon to do 1 through 60, and I feel like newbies will do that first, and then from 60 to 70 they can change it up because newbies already know how to do it.
That's not true. I don't know that. I mean, how would newbies know to do Deep Dungeon first?
I'm telling you they do. In the novice chat there's always people like, oh, I'm 15 now, how do I unlock Deep Dungeon? Like, people just know. I don't know.
Because everyone says if you want to level, go to Deep Dungeon.
Okay, you know what? Here's the thing, though.
When you get to that zone, you're already level 15 anyway, and you'll see the person and you'll talk to them anyway.
Let me ask you this then, Juxta. The fact that you have to have done floor 50 in Palace of the Dead means that any newbies who want to do this
that's true.
know how to do it. So
That's
at that
true.
point, why can't you add something more complex into the equation?
Actually, that's a very legit question.
Because newbies and casuals are still bad and don't understand complicated techniques and strategies.
I mean, that's a Juxta question. That's a Juxta answer.
There is a difficulty curve, right? Like, the difficulty curve starts at what level?
For Heaven and High?
Yeah.
The actual hard stuff comes after floor 30, which is the quote end of the story.
Okay. Gotcha. So you didn't even...
And by the way, we're using that very loosely. Story.
Nika, did you get past floor 30?
I haven't done it yet.
No, you're not missing out.
All right, let's go to our phone lines and talk to Satori Komeji. What's going on, Satori?
God damn, you guys like to complain?
Well, I mean...
All right, Satori. Show us wrong.
Complain about it.
We've been waiting for so long for this content, and now that it's here,
it's the same.
It's the same thing. So
set us straight, man.
Yeah,
please.
I like this a lot better than Palace, because if you just want to do this, or if you just want to do this when you go 1 to 30, get the story done, and then spam 21 to 30, you're gonna want to blow your fucking head off.
No, okay.
That would, because shit that low is unfun because things die too fast.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's.
This is not selling me on the feature.
I feel like you're on our side.
Yeah.
But if you do the climbs to 100, and they don't take as much of a time investment as your Palace of the Dead, because you're not doing 150 floors at once.
Okay, yeah.
You're instead doing 80, which is about at the most, I would say a 4-hour time commitment. And once you hit floor 71, things actually start getting threatening.
Okay.
And once you hit that floor 81, things get hectic.
I'm going to agree with you that pruning what they had with Palace of the Dead, where they had 200 floors, was way too much. So condensing all of that experience down into just 100 floors, yes, sure, that was smart. But it's still the same thing you had in Palace of the Dead. Like, it's not like when you get to those top floors, that was the same challenge that Palace of the Dead gave you at 180 to 200. It's still the same thing, Satori.
Like, I'd be okay if 1 to 30 had the same objectives just to get through the story. And then once you hit 31, the objectives start changing because it's supposed to be hard format content, right? That's what they said. So I would expect maybe if you're talking about newbies, like 1 to 30, fine, leave it the same. But the hard format content should be hard. Like, change it, make it difficult, make it confusing, make it so that every time you go in, it's different shit. So you can't just spam it. You actually have to think and work as a team. That'd be cool.
I mean, what he's saying is that when you get to those top floors, you are going to have to work as a team, but it's still just
the same shit.
Thing for, by the way, no reward outside of here's some tomes.
Okay, so what I'm getting from this is that if you did Palace of the Dead, that this is just more of that, right? Like, there's no, like, if you're already good at Palace of the Dead, right? Like, if you were able to get to floor 200 of Palace of the Dead, there's nothing that this brings to the table that's even different.
No, it'd be like comparing, like, it's at its core, it's still the same.
Okay, so
but the enemy types are completely different at those higher floors. So
I would hope
different.
so, but
what does that change?
So it's a different skin.
That's
then.
it, because they all do the same thing. We put AoEs down on the floor.
So why was this a challenge for Square Enix to develop? Why did this take so long to put into the game? Why did we hear about this for so long and only now just get it?
Remember, they pushed it back so that we could do and enjoy all of the previous content, like the main story quests.
This is literally Square Enix gets an A+ at Control-C and Control-V. That is, I think, maybe the only things that they know how to do anymore, right? Like, they build something and then they just want to build within that framework. And that's the thing that drives me so fucking crazy, is that this game does not have that strict of a framework. You could open it up and do much more interesting things with various activities in FF14, but they don't, because it's easier to just let's take the same rule set and just give them different graphics. They will know the difference. That fucking drives me crazy. Why does Square Enix think that makes a good, compelling, or interesting MMO or game? Because they do that with FF15 too. Like, they just copied and paste various quests across the fucking map. What is it about Square Enix where they need to cut corners like this? Is it that they don't make enough money? Like, what the fuck? This is the part that incenses me, because this could be really interesting. This could have been a much more engaging system. So I know exactly what to expect for the next Eureka. It's going to be the exact same fucking thing in a different zone.
That's one of the big fears that I have now. Is this was Square Enix's real chance to take something that people loved, right? Even though on its face it may not have been what it could have been, people still love Deep Dungeon, okay? And they had a chance to make it into something really, really great and show that they could improve and that they could, change stuff. That they could evolve their game modes. And what I think hurts the most too is that not even looking back at FF11 and being like, look, you have stuff that you can take inspiration from in there and put into this. You've already done it in this game with that Halloween event, and you still choose to do nothing with it.
It's like they did that and they went, oh wow, that was a lot of work, let's not do that again. Like, I don't
like, it was so much work, we should just copy this Halloween and do the same thing for next Halloween.
Well, now all Halloween is set for the rest of the time,
because there was a lot of work. There's a lot of development time that went into that.
Like, is Am I the only one that walks away from the content having done it and just goes, they just don't give a shit anymore. They don't care.
No, you're not. That pretty much kind of bottom lines it. The only thing that Heavens on High is going to be good for, and it's the same thing that Deep Dungeon was good for, is if you have ults that you want to level.
Yep.
There you go.
And that's why it wasn't like it was. All this shit was probably ready from day one, but they can't put it at the start of the expansion because then you have a really easy leveling way.
Right.
So they put it at the back end of the expansion.
Yeah, this is probably, you're probably right. This has been done for a long time.
Quick question for you, just for my own benefit. Once you get past 430, once you start getting up into the harder floors, do they at least abandon the stupid Asian dojo tea bathhouse aesthetic? Oh, thank God.
Yeah, 440 they abandon that, and it actually looks interesting.
Well,
there's
at least there's that.
A thing, I guess.
But the fact that like you don't even get like if you just do the story, it's all Asian theme all the time.
Really quick, I want to give you guys just a quick spoiler-free review of the story. Okay, so they discovered that you can go into Heaven's Tower, but it's dangerous. So you, the Warrior of Light, needs to go through it for them. So floor 10. All right, you did it. Oh, that guy, he has something. Something's mysterious about him, and he has a secret.
I don't like secrets.
Floor 20.
He's poopy.
Floor 20. He makes it a weird point to sort of show us, the viewer, that he knows you're the Warrior of Light, which fucking everyone knows we're the Warrior of fucking Light. And then that's as far as I got, because then summoners crashed Heavens on High somehow.
Yeah, so what? I don't know. I decided that was like the one time I was actually free to do the Deep Dungeon, and it was down.
Yeah.
So I joined a parade, and we put on a parade outside the tower, and it was amazing.
You know what? That's probably more.
It was a parade of the Namazu mounts. Because it looked like parade floats. So we literally for like 30 minutes.
To be fair, that sounds.
It was really cool.
Getting extremely gay.
Oh my God! Stop with the gay vibes. That sounds more narratively compelling than the narrative that I've seen so far. Let me just put it that way. Juxta.
Just wait until after you do the story. Ancient Elegant.
Spoilers. He lied to you. Everything that they said to you was a lie.
They haven't said a whole lot except, we just discovered this and didn't go anywhere in there. So
yeah, it's a lie.
Stuff. Oh,
the little story that they do give you, that's a complete lie.
Wow.
So then what's the point?
They just
like spoilers to test your strength.
But I mean,
to test the strength of the Warrior of Light.
Jesus fucking.
The guy who's destroyed, that has destroyed how many hundreds of primals and saved all of Doma and Alamigo. They need to test our strength.
Yeah.
For what?
What?
For what?
What do you mean for what?
Why are they testing our strength?
Why would they not test your strength?
Like for something else to make sure that we're going to be up to snuff for what comes next?
We just got to see how strong you are.
Yeah.
See how far up you can go.
The primal slayer.
Like filler content in animes. Did they do that little short arc? It's like, let's test your strength.
I mean, this is all just the anime expansion.
So
we got the tournament arc raid. We got the test your strength.
So then why not just say that? Why not just say that right out of the gate? Why lie to the player?
Because Square-Enix is like, LBR is like, we need curveballs in your storytelling. Here's your curveball.
Lying to the audience is not a curveball.
Oh, it's a total curveball.
No, it's not. Hang on. What narrative device are they using? The unreliable narrator? What is it?
The narrator lies to the audience.
Yeah, the narrator lies to the not to the Warrior of Light.
Well, to him too.
Well, that's the thing. If you're just lying to the Warrior of Light, sure, that I will give you. But after the Warrior of Light walks off, and this guy comes on after you've defeated the boss of the floor, and then they're talking, they seem like they're evil.
Actually, you know
what? So they're lying to the audience.
Yeah, they're lying to the audience, but they're actually technically not lying to the Warrior of Light. See that whole creepy, I'm actually a bad guy thing? Spoilers, he's not a bad guy.
I fucking hate this game sometimes. I really do.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
At least they didn't waste some time changing the item description for it, a Realm Reborn item.
Yeah, Koji Fox in his infinite wisdom changed the somewhat Laurel item to have it say something along the effects of some people think this is actually a Yanni item instead of a Laurel item.
Oh my God, stop it. All right, thank you for the call, Satori. We appreciate it. If you want to give Limit Break Radio a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Gotta say, he didn't sell me on it.
No.
What?
You know what? Let me tell you the best part, like my best experience both on stream and in game. And I forget who it was in the stream. I'm sorry. You probably don't want me to call you out anyway. But we in the first floor 1 to 10, we had got one of the new the aura sites or magic sites or whatever it is. We got the Inferno stuff, which when you use it, it's basically like a one-time use. Boof! Ifrit jumps up,
and
does a move,
one-shots all the mobs on the floor, which is awesome.
We had used it. See, because we used it on a boss, so it'll actually clear an entire floor.
Yeah, all the magicites clear 100% one-shot the bosses, except on the lower floors. I assume. Maybe on the higher floors it doesn't one-shot all the mobs. But
okay, it definitely didn't one-shot the boss. It was more like using a limit break. Like it took off like 10% of his health.
100% on lower floors. It kills everything on the floor, which is awesome.
That is actually very cool. Yes. So anyway, I used that on stream because we were on the boss. Somebody was using it. I'm like, fuck it. Ifrit. He jumps up. He does his move. Thing chunks off. And I had a summoner in the chat that lost their shit because that's all summoners want. Like, it's actually in the game now. That's all we want was that you use a move, a summon appears and does it and vanishes. That's all they want. And this guy was going mental because now everybody could do it in Heavens on High, and summoners are still fucked. And then 10 minutes later, we have to shut down Heavens on High because summoners Debbie Bahamut are fucking shit up.
That's satisfying.
That isn't it though?
That's satisfying.
Isn't
I like that.
That's pretty awesome.
I like that Square Enix trolls all the summoners out there,
as they should.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Argent Esper says that Odin will actually one-shot bosses if you can get his
no shit.
I've done.
That's kind of cool.
I've done Heaven on.
See, that's kind of cool. So they changed some cool things, but I feel like the biggest glaring high we want this to change, and we've been talking about it, and everyone's been talking about it. They didn't.
Yeah, no, they're just putting makeup to try and cover up some blemishes, but it's still the same cow you're trying to.
They added a thing to say yes, we changed it,
but they didn't.
But we did.
No, they didn't.
We added Magicite. That's different.
Nope, it's not.
To steal a turn of phrase, they put lipstick on a pig.
They did.
Very Asian-y, like really like the full makeup, like a tea house girl.
Geisha?
Geisha. Yeah, full geisha makeup.
Apparently, there's male geishas, and you'll learn that term in the Hildebrand quest.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's a form of acting in theater.
But it doesn't.
Male geishas.
Okay, listen, resident weeaboo Nika. They said this term multiple times, and I'm like, I have no idea what this means. So I'm gonna go look it up in Google Translator, and yes, it is a male geisha, Nika.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, they could also have what you're talking about, Nika, but he's not talking about that.
Anyway, let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Viviania Teorin of Hyperion. What's going on?
Hey, yo, what's happening? That summoner that was in your chat was me. I lost my loving shit when I saw that. I play all the mage classes. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, this should have been summoner. Why doesn't summoner have this? What the fuck? Now I gotta play this stupid little eggy little BS, and I was so pissed off at that.
You geeks are so gullible.
I'm sure you were, but I mean, at the same time, for all of us non-summoners, it's really funny.
It is kind of funny, right? Like you can see that from our point of view, right?
And it's really cool just summoning a giant primal to murder everything. Right. You should try it.
Well, you know what? since we have you here on the air, would you like to personally send a message out to Square Enix?
Square Enix, give this shit to Summoner, please. Just give it to Summoner. This is what Summoner does. Why don't they have this? Or at least give us a much bigger Eggy that actually does shit. At least,
you got Bahamut.
No, fuck that. No, give us like a little mini. We need more than just Bahamut. Summoner summons more than just Bahamut. Granted, I like Bahamut. I'm a huge Dragon whore. I like Bahamut, but we need more than just him.
Okay, except there's a problem. We gave you Bahamut, and then you started breaking the servers by bringing him out of Heaven on High. Well, you can't be trusted with anything more than Bahamut. We should probably take that away in 5.0.
They have shit code.
All I'm hearing from a summoner is that, yeah, you did give us something we wanted, but we want more now. And that's the problem with summoners. You give them an inch, and they will take a foot from you.
Well, whatever you call it is to give my impressions of Heaven on High, Summoner on High. Heaven on High, it's okay. If you got classes to level, yeah, sure, just level it through that. It's all right. But if not, then I wouldn't bother.
So, I mean, I like, let's say, I played Deep Dungeon in Heaven's Word, and I leveled a couple of classes through that, right? Like, what's the appeal to me as a player to go do it? Like, just level a couple of other classes, that's it? Like,
Well, there's the Dodo mount.
You're not helping your case.
No, I'm really not. It's like I have to lower my expectations when it comes to this game now. Let me be quite honest. I've just been playing other games like Warframe, but seriously, did y'all see that shit on Warframe? They have multi-crew ships now. That Fortuna expansion they're coming out with, where you could go on fucking Venus? That shit's cool. But wait, we're talking about 14, right? Fantasy 14?
I hear that Warframe's coming on the Switch.
Yeah, I did hear that too.
Putting it on Switch too. But yeah, we're talking about Final Fantasy 14. Wait, do we really have to? Can we just talk about Warframe?
No.
I haven't been excited about something in this game because nothing has changed with this game since Eureka. That's the last thing.
And in fact, because of this, one of the things you were excited about, Eureka Pagos, you're now kind of on the fence about.
Not just on the fence about. I'm actively like dreading this now because if they didn't spend any time adjusting some of the pop mechanics or some of the more interesting aspects of Eureka, and it's just literally a copy and paste from what we got in Animos, like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna be really upset.
Like, I want to say, they've learned from the way that you spawn, because right now Eureka is just kill X mobs, spawn X NM, and I feel like that's the exact thing that Deep Dungeon was. And so, I mean, their track record is showing that if you're going to keep the same mechanic in Deep Dungeon, why would it change in Eureka?
Let me see if I can maybe help assuage your fears a little bit.
Assuage me harder.
Yeah.
Hello.
Anyway, they never told us that this second Deep Dungeon, technically they never said that anything would be different. They didn't claim this would be better, that anything would change outside of, like, story, really.
I thought they said that this was going to be like a new system. Like they said, I remember them talking about
a new system.
Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe, but with Pagos, like, he said, he's actually came out and word for word said in Pagos things will be more complicated. There will be more pop conditions. Now, Nika had once said that maybe that's just, maybe there's just more weather-based ones now.
Right.
Okay, you know what? Very well possibly could be, but I don't think you need to completely abandon hope. Definitely temper your expectations, but this is really hard to do.
Yeah, Doris Genevanian in the chat says new system equals 3 slightly different pomanders.
That do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And Magicite.
Well, still, it's not enough. That's not enough to quantify a new system. You know what I mean?
Do we know what's on floor 100 yet? Is there a bench up there?
I'm sure. There's got to be like a bed or something. Make it good. Jesus.
Make it good.
Anyway, Viviania, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, guys.
So if you want to give Limit Break Radio a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. That's how you can give us a call. Limitbreakradio.com/Discord. You'll get an automatic invite to our Discord channel, and feel free to hang out and chat in there. There's a whole bunch of different chat rooms. We've also got one for Checkpoint Radio. You can find that at checkpointradio.com/Discord. So what I'm getting from most of this feedback on Heaven on High is that this was not worth the wait.
Dead on arrival.
That sucks, man.
It still does what Palace of the Dead or Deep Dungeon is supposed to do, and it's provide a different living system.
And that might be the worst thing about this is we're looking at this and then we see all the stuff that's wrong with it, all the places that they could have improved it, done better with it, how it could have really benefited the game and the community as a whole if they would have had objective-based divs, I guess.
Siren was saying he would resub if it had like different things.
Yes, if it was a little bit, I know we say this a lot, I'm sorry, but if it was a little bit more like Nizul, what was that?
I think it might have been a Patreon.
Oh, well, thank you to whoever that Patreon person was. But Patreon. Anyway, if it was a little bit more Nizul Isle-esque, if it made you think more than just kill stuff.
Mobs go
exactly.
Next floor.
And if there was
go next floor.
If there was a more tangible reward, and here's the thing, all right? Because I can tell you right now, I would have done this. If at the top, getting to floor 100, right, you don't have to put whole new item level gear up there, but even if they would have just designed a new glamour gear that you could put up there, and similar to how back in 11, Nigel Isle, you get to floor 100, either it drops a random one, or for every time you get to floor 100, you get to choose one. Even just doing that
would be cool.
Even just doing that, which would affect your game balance in no way, shape, or form, just doing that would have been such a monumental step in the right direction. But instead, we get the exact same thing as what Deep Dungeon was, or Palace of the Dead was, okay? And Square-Enix now, because it's just supposed to be leveling, that's all it's used for, is to level stuff. Regardless of what we think, regardless of what we say, they're going to look at this and go, okay, it performed up to what our standards were. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, and that makes it a success. Heaven on High is a success because people will use it to level their alt jobs. That's it.
Yeah.
How sad is that?
To play devil's advocate, if they put a special glamour up there, given the way glamour has been in Stormblood, it would be awful looking.
But here's the other thing too. Like, they don't even have to take the time to design it because they have so many fan design things as is. Like, just dip into that vault.
That wouldn't work because those designs could actually be good looking, and the theme with Stormblood is that everything has to look like garbage.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even care if it looked like garbage, just the fact that the top 70 floors are supposed to be hard content. So if you got to 100 and got to choose a special glamour, even if it's fucking ugly, not that many people are gonna, people will do it, obviously, but like the general casual noob's not gonna do it. So you have exclusive-ish gear. That means that you did the hard content, even if it's ugly. I wouldn't care.
Yeah, she's got a point. And as of right now, the only reason to go to floor 100 is to do it a single time to say that you did it, and that's it.
I think you get a special horse mount if you go up there 3 times.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Really?
I think so. I think that's what the other mount was in this patch.
Cool.
So you got that.
Okay, that's kind of cool then.
Is it
4 times for the mount?
Is it?
Apparently.
Someone said 4 times for the mount. So okay, go to floor 100
4 times, and then
and then you can never do it ever again.
You never have to do it ever again.
You don't have to do it in the first place. Let's be real.
Yeah, so there's your Heaven on High, guys. Honestly, I think it was another deep dump.
Yeah, deep dump is a great way to friggin' put it. That's so disappointing. And again, Kahlo, as you were just talking about, because I think that this could have been really good for the community. It could have been something where, we would have had an opportunity to praise Square Enix. Look at how far they've come. Look at how much thought they've put into making this system work as we move forward. But no, it's clear that it's just another copy paste slop job. That hey, put some new graphics on it. Who even wanted the new fucking graphics? Who even really wanted the Asian theme put on this?
I thought that it was hilarious.
Put me back in Deep Dungeon. Put me back in Deep Dungeon for another fucking 100 levels. That's what I would have rather had, and had meaningful objectives and meaningful fucking rewards. Instead, we get this nonsense.
Yeah, I figured it's a tower that goes up into the sky. I feel like it wouldn't just be Asian themed. Maybe the bottom couple floors,
probably
men go in there, but like all the way up to the top, all the way up in the heavens, it should be more like whimsical.
Hold on, because remember they said in the Heaven on High preview that the story would actually explain why it looked the way it did floors 1 to 30. Juxta, why did it look that way?
It's magical.
So
that's it.
So someone
Deus Ex Magica.
Someone within the story got to decide, I want it to look like this, and that's what they chose.
Yeah, it's always been that way, is what I gathered.
So it didn't actually explain it.
No. I don't think so.
Fucking Square.
It was a really bad story, all right?
Square.
They lore dump you so fucking hard at the end of the floor 30 that my eyes glazed over, all right?
Two Cat says it's that way because.
That's as good of an explanation as we've gotten for anything in this game.
Yeah.
Nika, how are you not pissed about this?
I mean, I haven't done it yet, if that's telling you anything.
Yeah, but
do you plan to?
For all the expectation you put behind it on, like, I just want something else to do, is this it?
Are you gonna do it?
I'm going to do it probably once.
Are you gonna go up to floor 100, or are you just gonna do the quote story and then
I will
be done
probably go up to floor 100 once. However, like, I think because 100 is a more attainable amount of floors, like, I'm still at like 170 or 180, and then my group has just kind of not done the rest of the other deep dungeon, and we're just kind of sitting there, and I'm kind of sad because we're so close. But like this one I might actually be able to do since it's only like 74.
Even Giselle in the chat is saying the story was even disappointed when compared to the first Palace of the Dead.
Well, because Palace of the Dead went back to the Ida, or not Ida.
Oh yeah.
Close.
I mean,
Close.
Very close.
You're a D-off.
Yeah.
Happens a lot at bedtime.
But Palace of the Dead has like lore implications, right? It's a place where people go who have like died but haven't actually passed over, right? That's what we saw. Like a lot of random NPCs throughout. Like you'd see NPCs that died in random story quests from the beginning, or like ones that were lost in 1.0 showed up in the deep dungeon. Like there was actual story connection there.
Yeah, you don't get that in Heaven on High.
Jerbear says when you get to the top, a Yoshida sprite greets you with, "I'm sorry, but the meaningful content is in another patch."
Ooh, I totally burned you.
Oh my God.
Kidding, obviously.
I mean, listen, I know that I didn't have my expectations too high for this in the first place, because I'll be honest, I didn't do a whole lot of Palace of the Dead. I didn't like it a whole lot.
Well, and you only played Dark Knight.
Exactly. Yeah, I had the purpose that it served for other people. I was less. I didn't want to level other jobs. I just had no inclination to. So the purpose that it served for other people, it didn't really serve for me. And the glowy weapons looked really dumb.
Those are the best.
And you didn't give a crap about hairstyles or pets or mounts.
Exactly.
So buy in the auction house anyway.
But again, this does all of those exact same things. Addresses none of the criticisms, and it was just like so if there are people out there like me who legit didn't like the original Palace of the Dead, what reason is there to even do the quest to unlock the fucking thing?
Doris in the Twitch chat says in Heavens on High there are auspices, and basically little like they're basically non-combat pets will appear and give you buffs, give the party small buffs. Doris, that is literally what happens each floor anyhow, when it will sometimes randomly be like, oh, we're gonna lock some stuff or we're gonna buff you. It's the exact same thing that Deep Dungeon already does.
Yeah, they just kind of give it a thing. Yeah,
now it's a fat cat.
An otter gave me a regen buff. It didn't matter in the slightest.
No, it didn't.
Well, I mean, I feel like I'm yelling at a wall.
So what's next now? That's actually it for 4.3 content, right? So now we're just waiting for 4.4.
No, we also got Eureka.
I thought that's coming in 4. Pego said that's 4.4, isn't it? Yeah.
No.
Eureka's coming in 4.36.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's gonna be like a month.
The very next patch, like a week or two from 3 weeks.
Oh, all right. So we have one more thing to look forward to then.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm definitely underwhelmed by this. I don't really have even a good reason to feel like I want to check it out. Like I even want to try to invest in it. And that sucks. That's disappointing. Especially, I was like hoping maybe at least there'll be an interesting story.
No,
please.
I mean, I feel like the first 30 floors though are probably easy enough to just blow through. So
I mean, they
might as well, right?
No, you might as well not. If the story is even shit, no. But by that logic, you know what? Might as well go out to the Ruby Sea and do that quest where they're like, hey, this lady's missing. And then you find her and she's like, a jellyfish stung me. Will you
I did that.
Talk to me so that I can go back to town.
I did that quest.
Yeah, okay. That's the type of bullshit that this is really, that it really comes down to doing.
I'm surprised it's actually a quest.
That's an actual quest.
That sounded like bullshit.
No, that's an actual quest. Yeah.
Fucking
I'm sorry. I thought it was garbage.
I mean, I did that quest like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I was less than impressed.
Why?
Because I was trying to compare questing in FF14 to Elder Scrolls Online,
and you hadn't had your quest full of 14 yet.
I mean, I didn't. The only quest that I did were the MSQ. That's it.
That's all I did.
For Stormblood, I didn't touch a single other quest, and I was like, why?
Even poor Doris says, I can call in and try to play devil's advocate, but you just call me out on my bullshit.
I mean,
at least you know, Doris.
But I think that's something else that it sort of goes to prove, and really it kind of says a lot about people who do try to defend this. Now, if you just defend it as what it's supposed to be and what Square Enix wants it to be, which is just leveling for alts, yeah, fine.
That's fine.
That's exactly what it is, and that's fine. But if you're one of those people that actually think, no, this is great, this is amazing, it's what the game needs, it keeps it fresh and interesting, and we're all full of shit, give me one shred of evidence, one reasoning on why that's so, because I'm sorry, it's not.
But the people that we get that will call us, that will, defend the game's population or the overall quality of the game, this is the kind of shit that they overlook. This is the kind of shit that doesn't seem to register in their minds as retreading the same content over and over again, right? Like they feel like for some reason, like this is fine, right? Like they're the dog with the fire all around them, and they're like, this is fine. but the truth of the matter is that this game is hemorrhaging players. It is. And you can try to present all of the data to the contrary. When you log in, you notice way less people than you used to. Just anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, whether it's Kugane, whether it's the fucking Doman Enclave, or whether it's what's the other one?
Ralgar's Reach.
Yeah, Ralgar's Reach. There's no one who is like logged in and being an active part of this world. There's very, very few people.
If you go to the Ruby Sea, there's lots of people there now.
I'm sure there is, but that's all of the active logging in population.
Because that's the only new thing to do.
Right.
All right, so let me ask you a question then.
Okay.
Would your interest in Heaven on High be increased or decreased if you knew that the floor 30 boss was a reskin of Titan?
What?
A reskin of Titan?
Just theoretically, like if the boss mob type was a Titan.
Less.
Like the Primal Titan?
Yeah.
Less?
Okay, well then pretend I didn't say that.
Oh my god. And you know what? When you see the silhouette of the top part of his head after beating floor 20, the first thing I saw, I'm like, that looks a little... Nah, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that, motherfucker.
Man, so not cool.
God damn it. Really?
He might... If theoretically, if they were to do that, they wouldn't give him earth moves. They'd probably give him something else like lightning moves.
Oh, dear God.
Lightning Titan?
Yeah, well, I mean, theoretically, Nika. No spoilers.
Go fuck yourself.
God damn it.
You and Square Enix. Theoretically. No, literally. Literally go and fuck yourselves.
Literally, theoretically.
Lick my balls!
Dude,
That's from Square Enix.
This is I don't know what even to say about this, because this is so fucking frustrating. Like it just, like, it seems, and granted, I'm not a game developer, right? I'm just a fan of this game, a long-term fan of this game. It just seems like the quality has been taking a steady nosedive for the better part of 2 years.
Well, what can you expect? They had their budget slashed by a third.
They didn't.
What?
They had it increased.
Yeah, it was tripled, remember?
Yeah.
I had the reciprocal, I'm sorry.
So, what is... I mean, like, I need to understand why this keeps happening. Because you would think that if you're copy and pasting content, that the development time that you would have had to put into making that content gets shifted somewhere else. And I can't figure out where those resources have been shifted unless they've been shifted to Kingdom Hearts.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Like, unless they've shifted to another fucking game, I do not understand why the slide in quality has been as drastic as it has.
You know, that's a good theory. The other theory that I have, which I think we've touched on here before, and it should be the opposite of this based on how modular everything is, how structured and patterned it is. Like, it should be so easy for them to plug things in and just create all types of content. But here's what I'm starting to think, and this is maybe my mental gymnastics are completely all over the place because I know nothing about programming. But all I can imagine is the way that they build stuff, or the way that they do this, is so convoluted and so complex that they're not doing it in a smart or an easy way. To give sort of an example, one of the things that World of Warcraft is notorious for is the bag that you start out with. Your default bag is still only like 12 spaces, I think. All other bags are up to like 45 or like 46, and people are like, why can't you upgrade the base bag? And they basically explained that because of the way that the game was coded early on was really fucked up and convoluted way, and by trying to fix that, it would like break the game itself. So all I can think is that the way that they build this game, the loops that they have to go through, and the way that their communication as a team is just so fucked. That's why it takes, and this is a direct quote from Yoshida sometime last year, that before they can do some type of in-game crossover event or whatever, it takes a year to do and plan and design for.
I remember that quote.
Yeah.
A year for a crossover?
Can I also kind of piggyback that with the fact that the whole problem with summoners breaking the instance and maybe players having less fun with this than Square Enix wants them to, those two issues could have been addressed if they had a PTR.
Okay, but but if they had a PTR, that would unaddress the issue of having content that's being played, because they would play it and realize it's the same, and therefore no one would play it on patch day.
That's actually a pretty poignant point.
That is also a very good point. I mean, were there a lot of people resubbing to check out Heaven on High? I probably don't think so.
Ton Barian earlier said that he has played since 2.0. He has been to 2 fan fests, and he has finally unsubbed.
That's depressing.
I don't know if it is, because he's a veteran player, so we don't really care about him.
Yeah, 2.0 veteran player.
But maybe we could get some new players to buy a jump potion. That'd probably make up for him.
I mean, at the rate that they're losing veteran players, are they making that up with new players at this point? I mean, their big marketing push from Stormblood is over. I mean, it's like they trotted it out at E3 because they had to.
Well, and hold on, with FanFest
because they didn't have anything else.
Speaking of that campaign, I ate a Mrs. Freshly's strawberry shortcake yesterday.
How was it? Did it have an FF14 code on it?
It did not.
Oh, well, then you just gave yourself some kind of botulism for no reason.
Give them half a year, because with FanFest coming up, they're going to announce the new expansion. They're going to re-up their contract with Mrs. Freshly, maybe throw in Carl Jr.'s again, and it's going to start all over again with our March to Garlemald.
But so ISA_13 in our Twitch chat says people will get bored of content even faster, won't they, if there's a PTR? That may be valid, right? Like that may be 100% accurate, but isn't that part of the problem?
Yeah, like even if it was limited time, because Argent Esper's saying that a PTR shouldn't need to be up all the time, only pop when you have a new feature,
right?
Which is something we've pointed out as well, right? Pop up the new Palace of the Dead like the week before release, or a few weeks before release, so that people can try it out, find any bugs that you didn't know about,
especially ones like Summoner. Yeah,
but this is the problem. Even if it's only out for a limited time, somebody will pop into it, they'll do it, they'll go to Reddit and be like, guys, Deep Dungeon is or Heaven on High is exactly what Deep Dungeon was.
And that's the thing that I think Square Enix at this stage in the game can't afford.
No.
They can't afford to come out with something, like a feature, and then have the description be, well, it's exactly the same as this.
Yeah, because their whole thing with, especially with the way that they're putting out, these 5th quarter patches or 0.10th patches, whatever the fuck it is the idea that people who are unsubbing when they have nothing to do, they come back to check out the new feature. And even if they only play for a week, 2 weeks, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We're still getting them for the month. Yep.
And if you know ahead of time, before it even comes out, that this is the same as Deep Dungeon, take Nate, for example, or Nero, for example. If he wasn't subbed and he was coming back every patch just to check it out, and he had read, it's just like Deep Dungeon. Well, fuck, I'm
not coming back for that.
I mean, that's exactly what Saren did. Like, he's like, oh, if this is new, like, if the top 70 floors are nice, challenging content, I can play with you guys again, and it's going to be fun and hard, I'll come back. And he checked it out, and he's like, nope, not doing it.
No. Yeah. I don't blame him. I don't blame him either. Let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Doris Ginevanian of the Kujata server. What's going on, Doris?
Hello, how are you?
Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to talk about this bloody lazy copy-paste job that they've managed to achieve here.
You are in good company.
Let's complain about it.
Yeah. So what I don't understand is if this is such a huge copy-paste job, then why couldn't have this been implemented at the start of the expansion?
Well, I think it probably was ready.
The catch-up thing.
Yeah, and because that's the function that it serves inside of the community, is it serves as a way for people who maybe are, slow to level their alts to be able to, their alt job rather, to be able to catch up. So that's.
And if they put it out at the beginning of the expansion, we'd actually have to make the top 70 floors actual endgame and hard and make it comparative to rating, and they don't want to do that. They're like, nope, we're going to put it in as a catch-up, and that hard content is just for glamour. But if they put it out at the beginning, we would expect it to be actual.
And they would have to, they would have to continue adding to it, right? Or else that would be, we would be super critical of like, well, that came out and we got 100 floors, so where's the second 100?
Yeah, and remember, this time, there is nothing else. This is it. Everything. The only update that you got was that Demi Bahamut won't crash everything now.
Nice.
And to me, I think that, that is hugely problematic because, yes, this is clearly a copy and paste job from Deep Dungeon, but they didn't even bother to try to innovate, right? Like, if you're just going to copy and paste something as a feature that it was before, like, basically what they did was they balanced it, right? You got a couple of new, you got a couple of new Palmanders and some Magicite. That's some balancing, but they didn't do what they should have fundamentally done if they're redesigning it or taking a second crack at it, is to add more shit, more objectives, change the scope of it, make it different. It's ideally, I think what you want at the end of the day is it's like Deep Dungeon, except this is different. It's Deep Dungeon with 3 different mechanics.
I don't think anything during today's show has hurt me more than the realization that the Deep Dungeon update for an entire expansion was just balancing. Ouch. It's balancing for Deep Dungeon. It's balancing for the event itself. And that kind of pisses me off, right? Like, if you had all of this time to, reskin the fucking feature, then you could have put in 1 or 2 or a half a dozen new pieces of content or new objectives in there to make it more interesting. And they didn't, because I don't know why they didn't. And all I can come up with is that they're lazy. What did you guys think, those of us that have done it, what did you guys think of how when you went from floor 1 to 10 and then from 11 to 20 that they just changed the color? I know that Jux is a big fan of that.
I feel like they didn't even really change
it was
the
like
color.
It was like purpley. Yeah.
all the bosses in the fucking Heaven on High, they're all fucking just reskins of older bosses. Even up in the higher floors, they're just reskins of Crystal Tower bosses. You've got a reskin of Cerberus, a reskin of fucking
why not
Sunday.
You know what? That pisses me off even more than just the mechanics being repetitive. I feel like if this is going to be hard content, give us a reason to go and see the new bosses. Make them unique. Make them know. Make the reason we want to climb to floor 100 is to see the new cool unique boss on the top floor.
See, that actually doesn't bother me as much as like the Titan one, right? Because Titan's pretty iconic. So the fact that they just reskin him, that pisses me off. But we haven't seen bosses from the Crystal Towers in 2 expansions now. So if they're going to start to reskin those, okay. I'm not going to be as upset. In the chat here, the Nerd Cop says, as a casual, my wife and I are really enjoying it. We're leveling up alts and getting mains and other things. That's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. And again, that's honestly, like, looking at that's all Square Enix is aiming to do. And one of the reasons why it kind of sickens me is no matter how much feedback or criticism that we have or that anybody in the community has, it did what it was supposed to do, and that is to satisfy people like Nerd Cop and his wife, which, no offense to you guys, that's fine and stuff, but it could have been that and more.
Yeah, I'm curious how much though. If you're actually enjoying it on that level, did you just do 1 to 50 for the requirement, or did you grind the shit out of 1 to 50 or to 200 or whatever before at a level, and now you're doing it again? Or did you? Because I feel like if you already grinded every fucking job through Deep Dungeon, you're gonna be bored doing it again. But if you didn't do that before, you might be able to enjoy it now. I'm curious.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would ever think about it after this episode, to be honest with you. Like,
no, after this, deep Heaven on High will be forgotten to the annals of Limit Break Radio history.
Except you guys got to do it for the story, so you can just understand how awful it is.
Doris, do we have to do it for the story?
Sorry, do what for the story?
Yes, he called in on the Heaven on High episode, and when we're like, do it for the story, he's like, I'm sorry, do what for the story? Like, if that doesn't answer
what story?
Jesus. Jesus Christ.
Doris, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. We always appreciate hearing from you. If you want to call the show, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Tell me why we're wrong. Tell me. I want to know. If we're wrong, then, like, back it up. Give us a call and explain to everyone, because it's not just us that seems to think that this is not getting the job done in terms of interesting content out of FF14. Set us straight. Give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com.
Altoid Gum.
Discord.
Altoid Gum in the chat said,
they have them.
I think they do, actually, yeah. Did any of them push for level 100? I'm a raider, and I actually had fun with pushing it with my static members. I think this is better than most other content that they have released. They could have done more, though, for sure.
No, because the fucking instance was broken.
None of us have. However, back with Palace of the Dead, the original Deep Dungeon, I did do a push to floor 200 with some friends, and yes, I did have fun with it, but the problem is once you get to 200, or in this case, once you get to 100, and you have that achievement, right? I've done it. I did it.
I've done it 4 times now.
Or if you do it 4 times, get the mount, or 5th to get the front, whatever there is. Do you think that you're going to do it again? That's the problem. It's probably fun to do.
Just to, like, I want to complete it.
Yeah. So like, sure, it's probably wants to do one time, but then what?
That's always been the biggest problem to Square Enix's content, is that once you go through and you get what the fuck you want, there's no incentive to go back and do it again. Nobody helps anyone.
4 times for the mount. Right?
Nobody helps anyone in this game, right? Like, we've got endgame link shells selling fucking runs for $1,400 a pop instead of people helping each other out, because there's no reason, there's no incentive. Square Enix doesn't incentivize being any kind of altruism in this game. You can choose to be nice and take somebody through a fight if you want to, but do you remember when people like Link Shells would sponsor runs of getting people through COPs back in 11,
or alt runs through Sky?
Yes, like those, and I remember those being a lot of fun. And there's just no analog here, and that drives me crazy because it makes for a much more selfish player base. It makes for a much more self-centered player base. I got mine, fuck you. That's it.
And unless you're part of the casual player base, in which case this was perfect for them. But you don't have to design content to be one or the other, right? It doesn't have to be casual.
Top 70 floors were going to be. They said it was going to be hard format content. So
sure, it is, but why? The problem.
The why.
As a hardcore raider, and maybe I'm wrong, right? But whenever I've done any type of hardcore raiding type stuff in any game, it's been because there is some type of gold, amazing, awesome, powerful prize at the end. I'm not going to be hardcore for the sake of being hardcore.
That dodo mount, though.
That bench dough.
But you don't have to go up to the top floors to potentially get the dodo mount.
No.
Nope.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, if you've done 1 to 100, why go back in ever? You know? Like, you've got to think about that. It's an online game. If you want people to continue playing it, then you've got to give them a reason to want to queue for content like this. It's disappointing, man.
Yeah.
Last call for calls. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord. We want to hear from you. What are your feelings on Heaven on High?
Oh, surely, though, Heaven on High may have been a bit of a disappointment for some of us. But what about the return of Hildebrand?
Juxta.
And was I the only one that did Hildebrand?
No, I did it too.
Nika, go ahead.
You did Hildebrand. Wow, okay, all right.
I did Hildebrand. Because, like, I don't know, for some reason...
Before we start, Nika, I am very appalled at your weeaboo status because you did not know what a male geisha was called.
Okay, what's it called? Do you remember?
Kuisui Kwaka.
Waka 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 to you too.
So for some reason, like, the Hildebrand quests have not been good in a while, but I still find them somewhat entertaining for some reason. There was literally like 2 quests, I think, that are literally go here, click this, go here, click this. I think
there was no combat at all.
No.
You could do this on a gatherer.
But you could. But what? See, I'm gonna get my hopes up for no reason now. They set it up very nicely for there to be a trial next time.
Nope.
They did.
Okay,
I won't.
I'm going to tell you exactly why they will never do trials in Hildebrand again. Because in order to...
They've done 3 before.
Okay, but that was in 2.0. We're in 4.0. And if to get to a 4.0 trial, you have to do 2.0 and 3.0 content without having the option of a jump potion, they will never do that.
Oh, you mean like they'd have to do all the Hildebrand?
Yeah. Yep.
That's actually...
They will never do that.
No, don't tell me that. Because, like, I mean, does anyone here care about Hildebrand spoilers?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so...
Spoilers, anyone in the chat who does care, or on the recording who does care, plug your ears.
Stop listening for a second. Yeah, so, I mean, I do think that for the Stormblood Hildebrand story is better than the 3.0...
That's not saying a lot.
The babysitting storyline.
That's not saying much.
So in terms of the fact that there is some kind of mystery, they're trying to apprehend someone, blah, 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 blah. So you end up like chasing down this burglar that's stolen a precious sword, and you get, you know, and they've like hired Yojimbo.
No, we want to know about the third one. Don't tell me about the first Hildebrand.
No,
this is the third one.
This is the third one. Yeah. So they end up hiring Yojimbo, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, he was the boss in the fucking route.
Jesus Christ, you're right. We already went through this fucking storyline of stealing a sword. But now we have an Asian skin on it. So
now it's Yojimbo instead of Greg.
Yeah. But that's why I feel like it could be a trial, because Greg was a trial. And he even calls him Jim because, you know, Yojimbo calls him Jim.
That's the best part is now Yojimbo is
funny. Yojimbo
known as Jim.
Remember my dog's
You know
name?
what? I would actually like Square-Enix to put a trial in the next one, but this is what they do. They put us on the big bridge again. It's the exact same fight, but with Yojimbo. All the same mechanics, right? Because I would love... Hold on. No.
I would really good at copy and pasting.
No, wait. This is even worse than just copy and pasting. It's literally just taking out the Greg model and putting in the Jim model so that we could talk about about how terrible that is on the show, and get all of the people who came in on Stormblood alone, have never done the original one, and just bash us. No, it's great. This is awesome, amazing content that's so original, guys.
Well, I think you have to do the previous Hildebrands to do these ones, so that you'd have to
you'd have to have the context for it.
You would. Yeah. But I feel like they set it up so nicely, though. Like, it is kind of a repeat that, like, yeah, he's stolen a sword and we're chasing after him, but I feel like that could be a hint that we're gonna fight Yojimbo like we fought Gilgamesh. No,
really?
Nope. Is that too?
Really, Nika?
Did you forget we've already fought Yojimbo?
Yeah.
He was in a dungeon.
Yeah.
We fought him.
Wasn't even the boss.
There's one.
He was the boss, but
he was the boss.
Right.
But if you talk to him, there's one random time where you talk to him before you click on the quest, and he says, "Do we know each other?" No, don't think so. It's like, oh, okay. So
yeah,
kind of remember. I wonder though if you've never done that dungeon, if you would say that or not.
Of course. See, they purposefully left it ambiguous because if you did the dungeon, then he says that. But if you didn't do the dungeon, it's do we know each other? No, we don't. I've never met you. Like classic Square-Enix.
Yeah.
Hedge in their corners.
So all right,
So I do think it's like a cute
Brad
story, but again, it feels.
What do you get for doing it? Minion? Anything?
Nothing yet. It's not done yet.
Why would you get something for doing
They've got to conclude the storyline. I mean, remember in Heavensward, they forgot that it was a thing for a while.
Even though at the end of A Realm Reborn, it says Hildebrand will return in Heavensward.
Little did we know that was a threat.
Oh, he's coming back, all right. And you'll never ask for him again, but you're going to get him anyway.
Now we can't get rid of him.
No, we can't.
He's like herpes.
Oh.
Anyway, all right. I think that's going to be it for Limit Break Radio today. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in.
Wow, short show today.
Short patch to talk about.
That's fair.
I mean, what, you want us to make up some stuff? You want us to dance?
You can read an email.
Do we have new emails?
Do we have an email? Let's read an email, I guess.
All right, it's right here from Berthoff of Leviathan.
Okay.
Oh God, I'm reading it.
Yep.
Who's reading it?
You got it up, Jux, to go for it.
Okay.
Listening to your May 20th episode, you were talking about the number of MSQ quests.
Jesus, that's fucking 2 months ago.
Yeah, well, this is when I did all the thing for the Me and Nika show, so I put the email up there, the only one we had.
This is all you, man.
I agree that they are dicking us about the quote, "we don't want to overwhelm you" approach to the patches as bullshit tactic to keep us from devouring the content how we choose. However, the MSQ is actually not really shorter. Y'all may not notice, but back in the day when we had 1,000,000 quests, those were often step 1, go see so-and-so. At the end of end quest, start next quest.
Yeah, that's true. There was just go here, and that's the entire quest.
Yeah, and so instead of 3 of those, we have 1 of those.
Yeah, that's fair.
Thanks. Now they tend to have you run back and forth around and back a few times before that quest complete appears. While this does reduce some work, clever pun names, food minions, and emote rewards, the story is still about the same length, minus the errand running filler that was rampant in 2.0. Anyway, I think we are clearing the final dome and stuff this patch, so you will want to get interested again as we go back into Ascians and moving towards Garlemald.
I mean, I am more interested. I will say this for Square Enix. I am at least more interested in that aspect of the storyline than I am anything that happened in 4.0.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
You know? Like when possibly Gaius showed up, when our ship got shot down.
Mm-hmm.
That was legitimately, in terms of, like interest in the storyline, the most interested that I've been since 3.0? 3.1? That's probably the last time I was
I feel like that's being really, really generous from you.
I went to the lore forums after that scene, after that scene in Stormblood.
Oh, after the quote Gaia scene?
Because I wanted to read up more, like, what people thought about it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done that since probably 3.1.
Wow.
If that. It may have been earlier than that, too.
I've never done that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the lore forums on the official forums are actually pretty decent.
Are they?
There's some decent discussion about, You know, because it's all fairly civil, right? Like, nobody gets really bent out of shape about lore.
Well, I'm sure they do, but they just get banned instantly.
Yeah. But anyway, so to be fair to Square Enix, where they're building towards, you know, finally possibly paying off into Garlemald, I do think that that's really interesting.
It is, but I'm really worried because we're in 4.3. We're gonna have 2 more patches of leading up to Garlemald 5.0.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of build-up.
You know, they might just start moving into it proper, though. We obviously won't be able to go there.
Sure.
Well, not in a zone format, but I mean, it would be easy enough for them to make like a single room here or there, like, you know, when we
like the throne room. Yeah,
the throne room.
To be honest,
like that, yeah.
No, to be for real, if they really want to hook me back in, if they really want to get my interest back in the 4.x series of story, show me a shot of Garlemald. Give me my first actual glimpse of the kingdom. Yeah,
the capital city proper.
Yeah, I mean, or even a dungeon that pushes more towards that territory would be really interesting. But I would.
Well, hold on. In fact, the next patch is that
it's a double dungeon.
It's a double dungeon.
No. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a raid patch.
Yep. So it's plausible that we could get a story related dungeon.
It's possible
near Garlemald.
I mean, I think we're definitely gonna get a story related dungeon. I don't know what the possibilities of pushing towards Garlemald are, because we're kind of the whole Xenos thing is so much of a question mark at the moment, and we've got to have a kind of final confrontation with him. And I'm thinking that they may push that off and he'll be a villain in 5.0. That's possible. Somebody mentioned that on the last show. I actually really like that idea of that Xenos is who's really kind of pushing us towards getting involved in Garlemald, because now we're personally invested.
Right.
You know, especially if he does something like kills the Emperor, right?
Or kills Alphino.
Yeah, he may be my favorite character if he kills Alphino.
Right.
Killing the Emperor
No, because we're supposed to hate
is
him.
actually a smart idea, though. If he's pretending to be Xenos, but isn't Xenos, killing the Emperor, then you now have inherited Garlemald, right?
Possible, yeah. That's again, there's so many question marks around Xenos, his identity, who is him right now, you know, who's the fucking the Elezen guy. You know, is Xenos the real Xenos? There's so many questions, but I do think that he might be a compelling villain moving towards 5.0. I would have said that it could have been the Emperor, but the only time that we've ever interacted with the Emperor was up in fucking Sea of Clouds in 3.0.
And that got dropped like a rock.
And that was just very quick. It was just a very quick conversation, and I was kind of left with like, he's not that bad.
Yeah, but
he's kind of all right.
My whole problem with trying to get worked up and excited about this is the last time that I was presented at face value with what could have been a really cool and compelling storyline, Warriors of Darkness.
Well,
look what they did with it.
Well, hang on. But the thing is that if the Emperor is supposed to be the big bad moving into 5.0, I'm not feeling any of that setup. I'm not feeling any type of way about the Emperor. The Empire as a whole, yes. But what they've shown is that inside the Empire, a lot of these legatuses and military type
conflict.
There's internal conflict, and they're a bit autonomous, right? Like, who knows you know, what the order that Gaius or that the White Raven got, right? Like, we don't know what their actual edict was that the Emperor gave them to discharge, right? All we know is what the war that they waged. In terms of a big bad in 5.0, I don't feel any type of way about the Emperor. Xenos, on the other hand, if he comes in and kills the Emperor, then your character does feel some sort of way, right? You have had some kind of personal attachment to that character and why you would want to see this kind of whole thing come to fruition. I don't think that happens with the Emperor as the character has been laid out currently. We just don't know anything about him. He's like a non-entity. Like, yeah, he exists and he does things, but like...
Maybe at the start of 5.0, he'll come and he'll like try and kill somebody, but not really, and then walk away.
And then we'll really hate him after that.
Maybe.
I don't want to go that far.
I don't know.
We have more.
Right.
I also am laughing because going into 4.0, y'all were all about revolution, and I was saying, isn't the Warrior of Light kind of above the trivial worldly shit? Wouldn't the Warrior of Light know that war only helps his true enemies? Sounds like y'all are seeing that now too. Anyway, love this show and will continue to support as much as I can. Keep up the great work, Berthoff of Leviathan.
Thank you.
That I understood that last part.
Thank you for the email, Berthoff. We appreciate it. I mean, I think what the point there was like, if the Warrior of Light was getting involved in petty political squabbles, doesn't that just serve the interests at the end of the day of the Asians?
Yeah.
And it does. And I think now, I mean, I think the reason that we say this expansion was pointless is not because of what you're saying, although that is valid, though. That is still kind of valid. So, yeah, I sort of feel like at the end of this expansion, it's a total wash. Like, why?
We liberated 2 countries.
Oh, boy.
Yay.
I don't know.
Yay.
All right. Well, thank you again, Berthoff of Leviathan. If you want to if you want to email the show, you can do that. LimitBreakRadio.com. Hosts at LimitBreakRadio.com. Send an email. We'll read it on the show. You can also leave stuff like YouTube comments. We sometimes read those as well. So yeah, we'll have to just save that for next time. Anyway, all right, that is going to be it for Limit Break Radio today, guys. I want to thank you for all of your calls. Doris, Viviania, Satori, all 3 of you, thank you so much for giving us a call today here on Limit Break Radio. If you're listening on the podcast and you want to listen live and you want to call in, you want to chime in on anything that you're hearing on the air, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/discords, how that is done. And of course, you do have to tune in live to twitch.tv/limitbreakradio each and every Sunday starting at 4 p.m. That's going to be it for Limit Break Radio today. Thank you so much for hanging out. We always appreciate you having you along and being here for the show, chatting along in our Twitch chat. It's always so nice to connect with you guys on Sundays. I want to thank my crew, Kalo Landis, Nika Kayanian, Juxtaposition, I'm a Nero. Keep listening. Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Kalo Landis and Juxtaposition. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square-Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Nexian Theta, Hirsch Fersch, Talen Vieira, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to episode 165 of